Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, it is highly probable that the Council will start with everyone congratulating Chancellor Merkel on her electoral victory. Indeed, Mrs. Merkel should be congratulated, first because she won for the fourth time, which is remarkable, and second because she won after having made the worst political decision in her life, opening the European borders without ever bothering to consult anyone. So much for solidarity, by the way. And yet, whilst Mrs. Merkel's victory was a success, it should also be viewed in equal measure as a wake-up call for Europe. After all, the two main parties scored the worst results for years, something that only months ago happened in the French elections too. For many years, Germany epitomized what the political science calls consensual politics. We had a sample of it a while ago in what Mr. Weber said. To put it crudely, a sort of united front in which everyone tends to speak in one voice. But if in a country like this, and Germany is just an example, because of its remarkable political culture, if in a country like this we see some cracks in the hitherto monolithic structure, perhaps we are witnessing the beginning of some kind of pluralism underway in the western part of the European Union. As for me, and on this point I believe I differ with most of you, I believe it is a good thing and long overdue, considering the stifling atmosphere of the European politics, the absence of any serious debate, and the routine bullying of anyone who dares to voice a different opinion. The Council will take up for the nth time the problem of immigration, perhaps the most misrepresented, mystified, lied about, contaminated to the core by political correctness problem of recent decades. The good thing is that the infamous mandatory relocation scheme is now history. It is dead. It is dead and gone. It is an ex-relocation scheme. But from the very beginning, this was a bad idea. This was a Stillman idea. And whatever progress we have achieved in controlling immigration, and we have made some progress, this scheme had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Will this idea disappear? I'm not sure. The experience has taught us that in the European Union, bad ideas die hard. Now there's been a lot of talk about new European asylum policy, and it's a good thing that we should be working on it and make it better and better. President Macron mentioned it in his speech too, but President Macron's speech was not really the exposition of a strategy as a lot of us expected it to be. It was more, I apologize for the comparison, it was more like a pep talk, but well, beautifully delivered as always. So whatever shape this asylum policy and everything that surrounds it, that is related to immigration, whatever shape it will take, it should not repeat the errors of the past. The asylum policy and immigration is not a matter for the majority to decide. There has to be a consensus of all member states. Otherwise, we will be back in the situation where the big guys do what they want, they can get away with anything, and they order others who are not so strong to obey. That has to be over. The demographic policy is too subtle, too complex, a problem to be imposed by the European political and ideological bulldozers. Of course, anything is possible, so it's quite, it can be predicted that remarks like mine will be ignored and the EU will sink more deeply into the sea of troubles, because already we are quite deep in the sea of troubles. And there should be some hard thinking and not going in the same direction with the same remedy, whatever happens, more of the same. That's not a solution. I have serious doubts if the coming Council will start their thinking, but I really hope they do. I do hope against hope.